All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, fellow Pandemonium travelers. This is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown Day 118 by my count. And yeah, what a difference a couple of days makes and a couple of dead bodies make, huh? So, 16-year-old victim of the chop shooting dies. Protesters go and, you go Vespa, get after it. They go and, the chop protesters go to the mayor's house, and then next thing you know, the chop is shut down as of yesterday morning. I did a little drive around the perimeter last night. All shut down, streets closed off by SPD, caution tape, not letting anybody in. I assume they rousted basically everyone from the whole area and kicked them out. And there was continued kind of protesting throughout the night and whatnot. I think they were on I-5 too, trying to stop traffic. But this has become so predictable. I think SPD have routes worked out ahead of time, so when they go down there, they just sort of close some streets and divert traffic another direction around it, and they're not really stopping the traffic. Is kind of what I'm getting at. But yeah, so they're trying to start one of those autonomous zones, if you will, the not actually autonomous zones in New York City, I believe. And I mean, we're at this point where if the city doesn't, if the mayor essentially and de Blasio is not going to try to shut that down. I mean, probably worse than Durkin. Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem, but it's the same kind of thing as Occupy. If you remember the Occupy protests back in, God, was it 09? Was it 2010? 2011, I think? Ugh, I can't even remember. You take over a place, and as a form of protest, I suppose it's a form of civil disobedience, but what a resident of the chop, a resident before the chop, who was now living in the chop, said about the chop is, I mean, it's basically just a homeless encampment. Like, they got stuff out here, they're cooking and everything, they got tents and everything. It's just a giant homeless camp. This isn't really protest, right? It's just, they just sort of are existing, and it's gross. And it's not safe, which is why, and I believe the rumor is that the 14-year-old shooting victim from the other day has also expired. Now, I have that at least on speculation. So I don't know if that's been released publicly, but that's what I was told yesterday. And that would mean that there was 2 black children shot by the Chazastani National Guard, and unfortunately, I don't think anyone will be brought to justice over that, which is what I said last night, I think. No, and mum's the word amongst these people. No one's going to point out anybody else for shooting these kids, whether they, I don't know, you know. And so far, I still haven't really seen any evidence that the kids in the car were shooting at anybody. They might have just been, like, joyriding and driving around like dickheads, but what are you going to do? You don't deserve to be shot for that. But anyways, what do we got? Now they want to cancel. They want to cancel Columbus. They want to cancel 4th of July, and this is one of these things where the official Democratic Party Twitter account tweeted out a Guardian article about how Trump having a 4th of July event at Mount Rushmore is reinforcing white supremacy. Now, I can get there. I understand what they mean by that. That we captured the Black Hills from the Lakota Sioux, I guess, and then we carved our white fathers' faces into the mountain, and the mountain is the landscape that they find to be holy. Okay, fine. The issue is, of course, is that the Lakota captured it and conquered, like, the Crow and other, I forget all the tribes. Various tribes have controlled the Black Hills for, different times throughout history. So, you took it from them and we took it from you, and it's I don't know, maybe it's not fair. But to say that's white supremacy, it's like, well, it's at least American nationalism. If America is also a quote-unquote white nation, then I suppose it is, but, yeah. So they tweeted that out, and it immediately got a lot of backlash, because you're basically saying 4th of July is racist, and it's like one of the holidays I think everybody likes, because everybody likes fireworks, and I think even vegetarians like barbecue. We all love summertime. I mean, it's just it's kind of an asinine stretch, but they deleted it because they realized normal people don't like all this stuff. Like, your average person is like, what? Now you're coming after 4th of July? I mean, I can even understand Columbus Day and stuff like that, but, like, it's the 4th of July, man. Like, we're only here because of the 4th of July. It's just, Independence Day, guys. Ugh, just the worst. And so we have to endlessly, this is kind of one of my pet peeves about all of this kind of stuff, is what they are calling the cult of intersectionality and the wokeness, is it just chews up all this time, you guys. We only have so much time during the day to address the problems that are pressing, that are upon us, right? That we live in some cases. Like whatever continuing unfolding nightmarish horrors are headed towards a city like Seattle, right? The CHOP is just one symptom of the larger problems that we're facing. And in this milieu, if that's the word, against this backdrop of complete chaos and economic calamity that we haven't even really seen yet. You thought layoffs and unemployment were bad when we started these lockdowns? Just wait until everything keeps rippling out. We're looking at major city budgets and state budget shortfalls, looking at local commerce being gutted. All those jobs supported by all of that commerce are just gonna evaporate. They're gone. They already have evaporated, but they're not coming back anytime soon. Against this backdrop of all this chaos, now we have realtors, at least one realtor agency in like Houston or something, saying that they're not going to refer to a master bedroom as a master bedroom anymore. Because, master slaves, so slavery, so racism. Now, again, I have friends who work in tech that talk about how people go back and forth and argue for not referring to like object code snippets as master and slave, or like hard drives as a master slave, because racism and slavery in America. And it just, out of all the things that are harming black people, black people in America specifically, I'm not talking around the world, we can't necessarily do anything about the whole world. Right here in these United States, what is it that people can do that would actually help black people? Well, changing a language style guide for Unix developers to not say master and slave when they're talking about computer code doesn't really make my list. Now, maybe I'm missing something here, but it seems like an insane distortion of priorities to focus, I don't know, any time whatsoever on these kinds of weird verbal shell games. I just cannot get there with this being a major priority. Well, maybe they are, but again, in the comments, you tell me what I'm missing here that makes it so that should be a priority, that the Columbus statue should come down. Like, the glorifying of the guy that, launched the colonization of the New World and now we're all here. Tell the story of the guy. Tell him about the bad stuff, right? Tell about the bad stuff. But we're here because people like this, who were imperfect, who lived in different eras where everybody's conduct was basically different. We would find everybody in the past behavior absolutely horrid now. I mean, Is that the priority? And this is the thing, is that I talk to black people on Twitter. I have black libertarian, black conservatives, and then, even some progressives and stuff that I run these things by as a reasonable person, trying to figure out how we're actually going to solve these problems, rather than just continuously bickering about them and then doing, symbolic nonsense like, oh, we took the Andrew Jackson statue down. Okay. I hope that results in something positive for someone somewhere, because it seems like a empty symbolic gesture that doesn't actually help black people. That's just how it looks to me. And verbal shell games with not calling master bedrooms. Like, okay, go ahead and do that, but that doesn't, again, this is like the taking the knee thing. You take the knee and you stand up, and what actually changed? Nothing. Nothing in the actual world about anybody else's attitudes necessarily even has changed. Nothing changed. You just made a symbolic gesture that I guess makes you feel good and or makes you look good to the people you took the knee to, I suppose. Now, again, I hope that helps those black people, at least, that you did that with, or whatever. This is not loans for small businesses for black business owners. This isn't this isn't grants for trade schools for black people to get, valuable skills. This isn't, this isn't even scholarships for them to go to college or anything, which increasingly I too am growing skeptical of the entire concept of college in general. I think everybody got a hard lesson on that over the last decade, basically. But yeah, that doesn't help black people's credit ratings and pragmatic. This isn't, it's not just money, right? You can give them all the money in the world, but if they're still dealing with, and this is the phrasing, is the perpetual systemic racism throughout our society, well then, again, all the money in the world isn't going to solve that. So what are we talking about? How to change people's attitudes so that they are nicer to black people? I don't mean to be glib or reductionist, but that's really what it is, right? It's you're being mean to black people without realizing it, so be nice to black people. All right. It seems as though we've collectively been trying to do that for quite some time, and we just have all these various problems and it doesn't work out as well as we would think with our kindness that we're attempting to enact, right? Your welfare programs and all these other things. I don't know. Ending the war on drugs, maybe at least ending, decriminalizing marijuana. There's that. I mean, you do that, and we could start getting a lot of people out of prisons that probably don't really need to be there, and get them back with their families, and then it's up to them to be responsible neighbors to each other, and and create a better community that doesn't have all the problems that we're told about that plague that community. And that's one problem on top of all the other problems. Energy scarcity, future water scarcity. Are China and India going to war with each other? I don't know. Is Seattle going to collapse and become like Detroit? It's turning into Gotham City, but we don't have no Batman, okay? Trying to get people to focus on real problems here and real solutions, not verbal shell games in your style guide for your, woke liberal online magazine that's, basically a Vice knockoff. Yeah. I said that. I meant it. Alright, that's probably enough ranting from me for one day. Just enough to get fired or something. Alright, we'll talk to you later. Bye.